It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998. And if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you 1:33 a.m. here on the East Coast. It is 11:33 p.m. Mountain Time in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And shout out to everyone checking in anywhere and everywhere between. So we have to talk about this show. Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're going to be having in just a minute, DMB Mamas, aka Leia, will be checking in to give us a reaction from New Mexico. It's her old stomping ground. She's out there to check out Dave Matthews Band and saw a heck of a show. Let's pull up the set list here. And just like I've been doing for over the weekend, you know, I had to take a quick nap. just to get some extra rest here on the East Coast. But this show, we get another show, another opportunity for the band to play some special songs here, and also play some stuff that everyone wants to hear. As far as more of the fans looking for the hits, we get a Sledgehammer cover, right? We get a Satellite, right? We get a Gray Street, which pleases everyone. We get a 41 here. Let's zoom in a little further so you guys can see this set. And we have 4 Under the Table and Dreaming songs, 3 Crash, 3 Earth Day, 2 Busted Stuff, 2 Big Whiskey, 2 Come Tomorrow, 1 song apiece from Remember Two Things Before These Crowded Streets, a miscellaneous release, that's Little Red Bird tour debut, 1 cover, 1 segue. Let's see here. Okay, and yeah, so I'm just gonna respond. Yeah, just text me when you are ready. So yeah, we're gonna let D&B Mamas get settled in before we get reaction from her, but just stay tuned. We will get reach out to her to see her thoughts on the show being there. Stupid Almanac, what up? What up? Nice to see you check in again. So you saw we played So Right to start off this thing, and So Right. This was at the Merriweather Post Pavilion in August of 2021, the 74th show for Stupid Almanac. What does he say? Right before Lying in the Hands of God the other day in Colorado, I said to my wife, he's noodling Little Red Bird. Nailed it. It was in his fingertips. And you're in Worcester, Massachusetts. Hey, shout out to you, Stupid Almanac from Worcester. I was just at a wedding this weekend, and one of my buddies who lives on the Worcester line, right on the town line, I was asking him about the Woo Sox. You guys got the AAA team from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So you guys, I was asking him about, he went to some games with his wife. Him and his wife have been great friends since college. And they're talking about going to those games. Guys stole a team from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. They did not want to build a new ballpark, rightfully so, right? And the Red Sox organization, which saw Worcester was desperate to have some new entertainment, and Worcester ended up paying taxpayer money to get a better stadium. Anyway, I say that to say that, I know about Worcester, Connecticut, Worcester, Massachusetts. I used to spend time in the summer in Worcester County, my grandparents' house. They lived out there. They still live out there, but they moved out there when I was in late elementary school, towards middle school. So I know about Worcester County very well. So anyway, so going back to this here, the 2 things you'll see in the headline: Little Red Bird tour debut, 3rd What You Are of the tour. And the Little Red Bird to me is the bigger shocker. It is the bigger shocker because, and I know, Stupid Almanac said that Dave was noodling it before, but, to have that Encore 1 spot have such a quiet song. Little Red Bird is a song that, typically it's something that's more, they played it in the acoustic sets back in 14 and 15 a lot. And you hear Dave and Tim acoustically, right? And it's been played here and there. Some specials. The last time it was played was on one of the streams last year where, COVID, no performances, but no in-person, like with crowd performances after February when the band went to Vegas and Tempe, Arizona. And Dave played it. Dave solo, I believe it was in 2020, but it's not really played in the full band electric set that often, but it was played tonight. And Don't Drink the Water closed the show. So they went from a rare Encore 1 spot to a pretty staple of closing out shows in 2021 as far as Don't Drink the Water. So pretty interesting there. They did that. And this show gets a Jimmy Thing when Jimmy Thing was not played all weekend in Colorado. So pretty interesting they do that. And we don't get another Satisfaction. We don't get another Satisfaction. And yes, the Stupid Almanac says Indigenous Peoples Day. It's the replacement for the defunct Columbus Day, as far as what, it's been a change of what this means, or what the trend is for this weekend in America. So they do close out with Don't Drink the Water. And I thought that was going to be played because of that, because of it is Indigenous Peoples Day, or it was. As far as now, it's Tuesday. Did I just wake up? Yes, I just woke up. I took a nap. That Girl Is You comes back again. So we got 10 of these since Gorge 2021. So 10 in the last month, right? Month and change. And so that, again, that's something I don't really need back. But again, Dave is spreading out what he's playing. We're not seeing a lot of new music frequent the set list, as far as these unreleased new songs coming out in 2020, 2021. And we're going to talk about it in a moment. What is he said? Nancy's Satellite was Wax City. Everyone was screaming Warehouse. Okay. Were you there? Were you at the show tonight, Stupid Almanac? Were you there? Let me know if you were there. But pretty interesting combo. Nancy's the Satellite. Satellite late in the main set. And then it went right into What You Are. So, excuse me, folks. But yeah, pretty interesting combo there. Oh, Couch Tour. So you've been watching D, and shout out to everyone, D&B Couch Tour. Shout out to the people that were live streaming tonight. But hey, to get a What You Are, you know what? I would trade that any day. If you said, oh, you don't leave the Northeast often. Okay. If you would have told me, hey, it can't be Nancy's in the Warehouse on a Monday, but if you sacrifice, if you go through Satellite, if you suffer through Satellite, we'll play a What You Are into Gray Street to close out the set. I would take that deal pretty much any day of the week, right? Third What You Are of, and looking at the What You Are stats here, I got this up here all time. This is What You Are all time. 01, it came out with Every Day. Got a couple times it was aborted, a couple times it was teased. Right, we're at 2018. What You Are was 3 times. 2021, we got 3. We got one in Las Vegas, baby, in 2020. That was one of the full band shows at the Chelsea Cosmopolitan at Chelsea at the Cosmopolitan, potato, right? 2013, there was 3 of them there. And then 12-21, and you go back to 2010. So that's how rare this song is in the last decade. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So one a year. If you go back from 2011 to 2021, there's been 1 a year average, and 14 to 17, none, 19, none. So that's pretty impressive that we got that. And then also looking at So Right, which is another one of these everyday songs here. 2021, the most since 2019. Obviously, it wasn't played in 2020. And this is a song that's made a comeback recently. Since 2013, you've seen some more plays. 17 was Dave and Tim. Keep in mind, that's Dave and Tim. So they're not going to really play that song, Dave and Tim. I don't think it's ever been played, Dave and Tim, to my knowledge. I could be wrong here. but I don't think it's ever been a Dave and Tim song. So, you're seeing these two songs come back. And again, what I like about these two songs, So Right and What You Are two songs from an album Every Day that I think is underrated and that this band does great. This band does those two songs great. Every Day is an album where obviously the title track does have violin, but it's not a song that, no one really, I guess in many ways, Boyd had his, electric violin for that song, and it was cool, but it wasn't needed. That song specifically, like I know it's a fan favorite, but Boyd's violin isn't like, oh, I miss it so much, right? It's not like Ants or Lion Our Graves, in my opinion, personally, right? No one even really needed that solo in Every Day. So, but everything else is much more of, I think, fits this current band the best. What You Are, you have a need for an electric guitar, and it sounds amazing. It's build up. The build up of What You Are is awesome. The energy of So Right is awesome. And these two songs can go on forever and ever. Amen. And it would just like So Right, when it's just played, the ending of that can just go in a loop for 45 minutes and I'd still be excited. I'd rather have 45 minutes of So Right than 45 minutes of Jimmy Thing. In my opinion, it's just so much energy in some of the best versions of these songs. There's a So Right that's on one of the I think there's like an extended outro for So Right that was on one of the Warehouse discs, and some of the What You Are with energy at the end, the alternate MSG 2010 version of it, and they played it a couple years ago as well, like that. I think that was 2018. They played like an alternate funky version of What You Are. All right, and out of 75 shows that Stupid Almanac's been to, Red Rocks 05, SPAC 06, Fenway 06, and you have 6 So Right. So 3 What You Are in 75 shows, and you have 6 So Right. And that's just, that goes to show you again how rare that song is. A shout out to Hines and Jen, who referenced on Twitter as well the same thing. Let's see if I can find them. And they had they're going, oh, that's not the one. So Hines and Jen took 11 years, 49 shows to finally get What You Are on Friday night, Fiddler's Green, Colorado. Well worth the wait. What a set list. So, yeah, that's a special thing here. All right. So, I mean, this is a great show. And again, you get a mix of everything. Squirm's in there, 41 to Squirm. When the World Ends, been getting some more plays and some more love recently. Can't Stop, needs to stop. But I think it's a song that brings energy to sets for the casual fan. So I mean, you can't knock the hustle, I guess. Yeah, I mean, this is a great set. We'll get D&B Mamas here in a moment. We want to let her get settled. Let's talk about this new album, new D&B album in 2021. I don't think so. I think this is going to be like 2016, 2015, 2016, but I really like to round up to 2016. So in 2015 and 2016, if you were going to shows, right, we got a lot of road testing, right? So we had Bob Law, which was Again and Again. We had Virginia in the Rain. We had Death on the High Seas. We had Bismarck. We had Samurai Cop, right? You had Black and Bluebird. And you got Houses, We Got Mahomes, says you sound casual, knocking, can't stop. Yeah. I mean, it's just, song was sped up too fast, and the original version was better. And even so, it was a rarity that was nice. I got it in 14 in the old school version of it, even though that's kind of newer. But anyway, I just can't stop. It needs to stop, unless they're going to do a cover of Red Hot Chili Peppers, who will be touring next year. United States, Europe, other parts of the world tour. Anyway, but going back to this, in 2015 and 16, they road tested some gems. Outside of Samurai Cop, I thought the other songs were amazing. They actually played them more than they're playing the new songs in 2021. But we did not get an album in 15 or 16. We just got some awesome music that was being road tested. They then released Come Tomorrow in 2018. Remember, 2017 was a year where it was Dave and Tim outside of a concert for Charlottesville, which was a special show given the sad and tragic passing of an activist during some demonstrations where someone drove a car and you know, I think they were backing up, and someone passed away tragically, who was trying to stand up for the rights of people that, it was just a sad thing. So, point is, you didn't have any sort of album come out those years. They were just road testing. And to me, those are the better tours. That's why I'm excited that they're extending this thing. Mohegan Sun has 2 nights here in Connecticut, so southeastern Connecticut. And Stupid Almanac says never miss a Hartford show. Absolutely. I have not missed a Hartford show since 2012, night 2. I went to night 1, missed night 2, and since then have not missed a Hartford show, including 2 Farm Aids for Dave and Tim. But I say all that to say that I don't see an album coming out, and I actually think it's because the sets are so great and the new songs are so good. What's been a trend, when a new album's coming out, you're going to get all this crappy music that's not necessarily road tested and not the best stuff. Let's go to 2012. And in 2012, what did we get? We got the premiere of songs like Gaucho and Mercy, right? Those were 2 big songs being pushed. Gaucho being the first single from the Away from the World album. And in retrospect, Gaucho has not been played in a while. So if Gaucho is played as a one-off, it would actually be something that, I would take that, right? But I don't want it to be back in rotation. The reason is, the first time I heard Gaucho, it was kind of cool. It had that warehouse effect where Dave is muting strings and it was cool. Great message, right? Great message of the song. But I think it got played out after I heard it multiple times in 2012. In the 2 shows I went to, I got Gaucho both times. And then in 13, I was like, okay, it's done its thing. Mercy, same thing. Mercy is a great message. It's a great Dave solo, and Dave played it at the Gorge, and it was actually a pretty beautiful version of it. Dave solo or Dave and Tim Mercy is better than the full band one. The full band ones, the reason I say they're not as good is the jam, even though it was slower, even though it was quieter, the jam went to nowhere. It was they were 13, 14-minute versions of Mercy, which took up too much of the set list, right? So in 2012, we have Gaucho and Mercy are 2 songs I didn't really like, right? They didn't translate well live in the full band format. But we got an album that came out, and I felt like that year, especially that winter Mohegan show in 2012 that I went to, it was so much Away from the World. And I love the riff, right? I love Drunken Soldier. I love Broken Things, but there was a lot more of the other stuff from Away from the World than some of the gems. Then we go to 2018, Come Tomorrow. I was fortunate enough to get a Black and Bluebird, the last Black and Bluebird full band ever. Hartford 2018, as of right now, as I record this on the wee hours of 10/12/21. That was the last recent full band Black and Bluebird, right? After that, the rest of the summer, that was a June show. They stopped playing the song. What did we get? We got That Girl Is You. Can't Stop came back into rotation, right? We got She Was played, which I don't think is a good song. Come Tomorrow was played. As the album came out, they were playing Come Tomorrow, which is a great message, horribly written song. So again, in 2018 and 2012, when an album was about to come out, we got some of the worst tracks from the album in heavy rotation. The good songs from Come Tomorrow were not being played at that much, if at all. Virginia and the Rain full band kind of disappeared after 2018 forward, or during 2018. It kind of started going missing. And I love the acoustic version, but so you don't, She is I don't think She is like, the problem I have with She is they're like, if Pearl Jam had wrote She, first of all, they would have, Eddie and the crew would have written it better. And it's too much of a wannabe Pearl Jam song. That's not what I go to see D&B for. I would go, if I want any sort of rock from D&B, I want it to be What You Are So Right. Higher energy, and with What You Are, it's more deep and darker. But She just, it doesn't go anywhere. I do like Buddy's solos that he added in 18 and 19, right? I like that. But before, but Buddy, like outside of that solo, like the songs just drag, right? And Come On, Come On. So Stupid Almanac says, Come On came ripping right out of the Bad Session. Come On, Come On. I did like it when it first came out. I don't dislike it. I just don't think it's necessarily like, I don't think it's broken things in the riff. Like, those are two songs from Away From the World that are criminally underplayed. Come On, Come On's a beautiful song, but I don't really need it in a set, in my opinion, right? And everyone has different tastes. I don't think you need it. I don't think you need it, but it's a beautiful song. And it's one, if you have strings, like you had the version from the Hollywood Bowl, that's kind of a cool extra, goosebumps. But I don't think I don't think we need it in a D&B show in 2021, although I would take it over That Girl Is You easily. But the point being is, some of the, like, when we've had these album releases, I think the worst stuff has been out. So I don't think we're having an album in 2021. I actually think this is a blessing, because the best, when they're trying to promote an album, since anything post Big Whiskey, just to me, which is really Away From the World, Come Tomorrow, the songs that they've selected to really fill up the sets when the year the album comes out, they're not the best material from the album, right? Again, Away From the World, Drunken Soldiers, The Riff, Broken Things, the best songs from that album. Rooftop did start to make, after the album came out, the Rooftop with the remixed bridge was awesome, right? Snow Outside was pretty dope. But again, what did they push in 2012? Gaucho Mercy, Gaucho Mercy, Gaucho Mercy, Gaucho Mercy. Lord have mercy. Stop playing those songs. Then Chic popped in, right? And again, I said, She Could Wait, right? That Girl Is You. No. That girl needs a better song written. She needs some magic from like the Crash era, not That Girl Is You. So again, I don't think there's going to be an album, and I think the band is better, right? Don't rush. What do we need a new album for? For what? I actually love the songs, and what's crazy is, I love the songs from 2021, and I love how I'm still chasing The Only Thing, which I really want to hear. I love that idea that they have new music, and I've gone to 6 shows, three full band, 3 alternate format, and a Dave and Tim show, and I'm still chasing The Only Thing. That's what makes all these shows worth it. I've in that chase to get that song, we've gotten so many special things, from Stones acoustic, Stone full band opener, Mansfield, Write a Song, You Never Know, Tripping Billies, and Josh, shout out to Josh, that's Leia's husband. He's saying how they playing though, no breaks, the boys be working. Actually, it's interesting. This is a mini. They took a break and they're doing a mini run, and then they're going to take another break and they're going to do another mini run. Mercy got that Mercy sample in there with the Kanye West Mercy. I don't know what she's talking about. But I just, again, I think that for this year has turned out great because of the fact that they're spreading out these set lists. They're giving us a little bit of everything. They're giving fans who are hardcore, the fans who are like the mainstream hits, fans who are just coming in because there's something to do in town. Everything's opened up. There's a lot of different things. There even the covers that they've kind of brought in. They've expanded for some of the festivals and Gorge Weekend, right? And some of the covers they've done have been special for casual fans or fans at their first DMB show. But they know the Beatles, right? They know Huey Lewis in the News, right? That's what it is. And so they're doing some special stuff. But I don't think there's a new album in 2021. I think that they're gonna just continue to promote the tour, the 30th anniversary tour, but not an album. There was some rumors about things being moved around in Mohegan, and maybe they're gonna have some like late night stuff, and they may still perform late night, one of those nights in between Mohegan and MSG. But I don't think we're having an album, and I think that's a great thing. The next thing, as we start to focus on, we have Rogers, Arkansas on Wednesday, and then we're going to start to look at some arenas as winter's cold, spring restain. But it's actually fall, but it's starting to get cold out. It was cold at Fiddler's this weekend per reports. So we're going to get to some arena shows, and let me just switch this up. Arena shows versus outdoor shows. Which do you prefer? Let me get the question mark in there. And what was interesting is there was conversation on Facebook forums today about, arena shows versus amphitheater shows. And I've heard this before, that a lot of people don't like arena shows. They like the outdoor shows better. They said the arena shows, the energy is not as big. At arena shows, you do see in the upper decks nowadays, in the last decade, depending on where you are, that people do sit down. I saw that at Mohegan Sun, sold out venue, and pretty much the upper deck was sitting down. And arenas 10K less. Oh, are you saying specifically you like arenas with 10K or less? Because I know MSG and Columbus are going to have a little more than 10K there. They're going to have over 10K at those arenas. Those are both major NHL venues as far as the Rangers at MSG. So the concert setup. You're actually saying, I see you're saying Mohegan Sun, DCU Center in Worcester, Times Union Center. That's in Albany. I haven't been to DCU in Worcester, and it used to be the Worcester Centurion, where they've had some classic shows for many classic acts over the years. So, okay, you're saying 10K or less. So you like the intimate arenas, right? And that's the big thing to point out. You have a venue like Mohegan Sun that's under 10,000 people, very intimate, and the same venue. I mean, the same tour, you have Madison Square Garden and there's a Nationwide Arena still in Columbus, I believe. Yeah, it's actually one of the few venues that's kept its name for a sponsorship. Blue Jackets came in at the turn of the century. Columbus Blue Jackets were an expansion NHL team, and they kept the name there. The name, and that's all with the naming rights. Some of the naming rights lasted for 20 years. Some of them didn't. DMB Mamas. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get to you in just a moment. DMB Mamas. We'll kind of almost end off with your thoughts. We're talking arena shows versus outdoor shows. Here's my thing. I know, again, people don't like these arena shows because they say the crowd. I actually like arena shows for a couple of reasons, although I love both. But I think arena shows do a couple of things. First off, it's more about the music. I know people are like, oh man, the crowd is dead and this and this and that. Now, MSG is going to be lit, okay? I've never seen this be my first DMB show, MSG night 2, but I've seen Billy Joel twice at MSG. I've seen 21 Pilots at MSG. I've seen some other big events at MSG for basketball there as well. MSG is going to be lit. To me, it's the best arena to have a concert in that I've been to. Haven't been to Staples Center, haven't been to the LA Forum, but I can kind of say I think that yes. And Stupid Almanac says, yeah, better lighting indoors too, right? You don't have to deal with the sun setting. Although I love the sunset, but like there's typically better lighting. It's more closer, so they can get the better things set up. You get those screens. Sometimes they add another screen, and you get to. I love how it's about the music more. The reason I say that, when you go to a show at an amphitheater, there's always just people there to drink. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? I love the energy of these outdoor shows. But people that go to an arena show, you're more likely to get fans of the band and more hardcore fans. There's less fans overall a lot of times in these arenas because you don't have a lawn that has 5,000-6,000 people. When you get to Hartford and some of the other big, like Deer Creek, you have really 15,000 plus people at the Deer Creek lawn. When Hartford was a venue stop for the full band, they would have, you could have up to 22,000 people. They didn't get 22K in the last 5 to 10 years, especially the night ones. Night twos would fill up a little closer to that. But yes, and maybe another people tease in 2012. I did not hear it at the time. I didn't even know people in 2012. I wasn't getting into the deep cuts until around 13, 14. I started looking up more deep cuts, making mixed CDs, listening to the Copper Pot stuff. Shout out to Copper Pot, Chester Copper Pot on YouTube. But I like how the arenas it's more about the music. And you know what? I actually don't mind when people sit down in the upper deck. I've heard people go to Europe and they've said that people admire the music more and they sit down, but they clap after every song. I actually like how sometimes when it's a little more low key, you can hear different things because the crowd's quiet. I'd rather have a crowd quiet than talking too much. Who likes a guy or a gal who's talking in front of you during the show, especially during the soft stuff? I actually enjoy sitting in the upper deck of a Mohegan Sun and being able to, in 2018, just enjoy the music coming right at me, right in the upper deck at the rear of the venue. And there's not a bad seat at Mohegan, but it was actually nice that, people were, and I was more energetic and I was dancing here and there, but it's nice to actually just take in the music without so many distractions. In the orchestra of the amphitheaters, in the mid pavilion, in the upper pavilion, there were so many more distractions in an outdoor show. And again, I'm here for DMB. All right, I'm here to have a good time and meet up with people and all that stuff. I love that, and I'm glad I was able to meet some of you guys this year. I'll see some of you guys at Mohegan, right? But all that considered, when you go to the show, I love being able to experience the band without distractions. And a hot summer day, even a cold summer day or a spring day, there's always somebody. There's always somebody acting a fool, right? And there is indoor shows too, but it's a little more, you get a better behaved crowd to me indoors versus outdoors, the winter or the fall, late fall, early winter, when they would do Seville and MSG in the actual winter. You just get a better, I think it's just better to enjoy the music, right? MSG is huge. You got to get close there. Although MSG, here's the thing about MSG. The MSG, you're on the upper deck is on top of the lower deck. And I remember the first major event I went to this year was a Knicks basketball game, a Knicks playoff game at Madison Square Garden in the upper deck. We're a couple rows up and you're on top of the lower bowl. It's one of the few venues. The MSG renovation is one of the best projects I've seen in the last 20 years in arena, stadium, amphitheater architecture. They put I think it was like $1 billion or so they put into that arena. And I love it. I have been to so many events since they really finished that renovation. And yeah, and the catwalks, the Chase bridges and just the upper, like the lounges up there. It's very, very cool. You're like you feel like you're sitting on the rooftop, or you're sitting on you're just overhanging on the roof, looking at a show. But MSG is huge, but it's more intimate than venues around the same size because they don't have 2 levels of suites. When you look at DC, Washington, DC, right? The Verizon Center, is that what it's called now? It used to be like the MCI Center. It's Verizon Center. When you look at the TD Garden in Boston, right? When you look at the Wells Fargo Center in Philly, when you look at Amalie Arena, they have, those arenas have 2 levels almost, or pretty much, they have a gap between the upper and lower deck, where MSG is just, the renovation has been amazing. And maybe I'll see one of the Baker's Dozens for Fish. That may be my first Fish. I gotta see. There's been so much going on this year. I've had so many different things, which is nice. It's a good problem to have, but we'll see about the Fish. I'm always a 2-hour, a little longer than that when I take the train. I usually drive to Southern Connecticut right before the New York border and take the train in to Grand Central and then walk to Penn Station, aka Madison Square Garden. Penn Station's right below, the train station's right below MSG. So anyway, I love how arenas, and also the other thing is the lawn at the arena, right? I mean, the arena doesn't have a lawn area. I don't like lawns, certain lawns I don't like because you're so far back and you don't necessarily have a full view of the stage. Now, granted, at the top of the TD Garden, they're not playing that this year as of right now, right? Maybe they'll announce more dates. They're not playing Wells Fargo and Philly. Like, those venues have some pretty high upper decks. And Josh is saying, hey, go see Fish. Yeah, I'll see. It depends on the pricing. We'll have to see what the prices look like closer to the event. What tickets are available, but I definitely would love to catch a Fish show at MSG. But at the upper decks of some of those, like I said, those double tiered suite levels, I know Staples Center, my dad's been there, same thing. That actually has like 3 levels of suites, and you're really up there. Yes, you can be pretty far from the stage, but at the same time, you can see the stage full on. So even some of the worst seats, you can see the physical stage, and there's no real obstructions per se, depending on where you are in the venue. But the lawn area, to me, for most venues, I prefer not to sit in the lawn. I'll be in the last row of seats, but the lawn feels detached from the venue. When you're at the top of an arena, you're just on top of the stage, even if you're high up. And I like that about those shows. Also, the audio this is one of the big misconceptions. So take away SPAC and take away Deer Creek and some of the great world-class amphitheaters that we have in this country, Red Rocks, which DMB doesn't play for various reasons. We'll talk about this, another show topic. But when you look at the audio from the arena shows, there are some areas of the arena where the sound does get kind of warped out by the concrete and some of the rafters and the contours of the arena. But because there's no wind, because there's no rain, because there's no outdoor elements, the sound actually from the soundboard is better. And I remember going to 2018 Mohegan Sun, and the music the mix was actually better at the back of house than the amphitheater shows I had went to in 2018. So when you don't have those issues of wind and rain and just other stuff, live recordings outside can be challenging. And when you're at the actual venue, the sound outside can be challenging. And people, you got to realize too, outside of the SPAC, right, and a couple of the other venues that have good sound, the speakers at a lot of these venues and to get it across the venue, they're not that good. Live Nation, Depending on the venue, they're not like, if you're in the lawn, they're not like fixing the lawn speakers every year to be, oh, we need the world class. But and even spec, if you're, because of the way it's set up, the sound isn't as great as when you're indoors. But to me, the sound overall is better inside. Yeah, and that's why Fenway sucks. And that's a point. I've never been to any of the Fenway shows. I've talked to, shout out to Greg H. He's out here in Connecticut. We were talking during Farm Aid, and he said he was on the field for one of the Fenway shows, and then the next day he was on the field, and the next day he was in the actual seating of Fenway Park, and he said the sound kind of got absorbed and was hitting off the press box. That's the thing. That's why I don't really want him to play Fenway again. I'd rather just have him play Mansfield. I know they played like some crazy dope sets, but if you don't get a field seat, you're not really experiencing the band. It feels detached. I know you say Live Nation sucks, but to be fair to Live Nation, these venues have so much wear and tear over a season. You have some people coming in, coming out, the weather, all this different stuff with outdoors is tougher. But when anything indoors, everything is preserved. That roof over the arena is preserved. In Tampa, if they go and play Amalie Arena, whatever it's called now, or the Lightning play, that venue has always had AC, right? So everything in there is fresh, where when you have a whole hot, humid summer, sticky summer, and you have speakers and other stuff for the lawn areas and some of the upper level areas to hear the music, that stuff gets ruined from just having all that. And Joshua Green says indoor venues have way more energy. It's contained. The sound is better too. Live Nation sucks big time. I agree. And that's what's interesting is some people say, oh, I don't like the energy indoor. Like that's what I was seeing in some comments today on some of the Facebook forums for DMB. But I disagree. I agree with Josh. I think the indoor venues, the sound is contained in, and I actually think it's better. You feel like everything is echoing off as far as the crowds. So I agree. I think the indoor arenas, but there's some people, but you know what I think it is though? I just think, and there's nothing wrong. I love the outdoor tailgate. I love the indoor, go to some bars in New York City. I can think of just going to a dive bar before going to the Beacon Theater. The poster behind me, the Allman Brothers Band. I remember it was awesome to actually pregame at a dive bar on the way to the Beacon Theater. I like the pregame either way. But some people, if they can't get their cooler mentally, if they can't have their cooler outside and beautiful weather and all this stuff, especially in the Northeast where these shows are colder and you can't do as much, they just aren't in the same mood. And I think that's really what it is. They're like, oh, the energy is this and this and that. But I love indoor venues. Just don't eat mushrooms inside. Bad idea. And Joshua, who's out there in Florida, he probably knows about the Amalie Arena water fountains out there. That's in his portion of Florida. Although I was having some conversations. There's a lot of conversations is out in the West Coast there of Florida, West Side, about the Tampa Bay Rays. And I remember someone who went to college out there, and a bunch of family, kids I grew up with, their parents are out on that West Coast, Port St. Lucie, Tampa, St. Pete, Punta Gorda or whatever? A bunch of different things on the west side of West Coast of Florida. I know that they're talking about the Rays and people don't want to drive over that bridge from St. Petersburg, from Tampa to St. Petersburg, which is, it's still just it's baffling that people won't do that. But if you want to go to a baseball game in New York City or Boston, like I wish it was a 30-minute drive to Fenway Park or Yankee Stadium that just had a expensive bridge. There actually is an expensive bridge for New Jersey residents to get to Yankee Stadium. It's called the George Washington Bridge. And if you try to avoid that, take the Holland Tunnel, still expensive. You go up to Tappan Zee Bridge, it's time consuming. So it's funny to see, but I understand, out in that area, especially if you have a pop-up thunderstorm, like people don't want to drive to St. Petersburg from Tampa Bay, where the Lightning, the Buccaneers, the Yankees, Steinbrenner Field is all in Tampa, where most of the people are, and St. Petersburg is just over that bridge, and traffic and all that can be a pain. But listen, y'all think y'all have a rough in Tampa, or the Rays fan, y'all think you have a rough out there? Try getting to Yankee Stadium during rush hour in New York City. Good luck. Same thing with Fenway. The exits in Boston, oh my gosh. Anyway, I digress. But to me, arena shows are better. Arena shows are better in so many different ways. Outdoor shows are better. Like, there's nothing beats the Gorge, period, or SPAC. Nothing beats those two venues outside of maybe Alpine, and I haven't been there yet, right? In Red Rock, but they don't, DMB doesn't do Red Rocks. Josh says St. Lucie is on the east side. Florida's all right. Oh, Port St. Lucie. Okay, that's where the Mets play. That's their Mets. But you have what? Fort Myers, Tampa, and St. Petersburg. Isn't Clearwater on that side? Clearwater. You go further up and you get into the central time zone. That's the armpit. Tallahassee and Pensacola. Pensacola is central time, right? And Tallahassee is eastern time. That's going up towards Alabama, right? Alabama. But anyway, we're going to reach out to, yes, old people getting younger, though. Yeah. Everyone, like, there's so many people from, I know, Stupid Almanacs from Worcester. There's so many people from New England and New York City that they retire down there on the west coast of Florida. It's outstanding. But now the shift is, though, it's getting younger. Yeah, I actually, a kid I played hockey with moved down to the Tampa area. What I'm seeing, though, is the older people, they're moving to South Carolina. South Carolina is like the final frontier of the South. And they're building, I've seen a lot of people, kids, one of my childhood friends, his parents are moving. They're in South Carolina. Tailgate Caravan, the awesome couple from Tailgate Caravan, they just moved into their place in South Carolina, and they're trying to avoid summer. Yeah, no taxes. Although South Carolina is starting to tax like the second car, like the car taxes. They're doing some things to make some extra revenue. Say, hey, not so fast, right? So they're taxing the cars in a certain way. It's still, car insurance is much cheaper out there. And I'm just transitioning from auto claims. And I'm doing some things on life insurance now, as far as my career. I've been in insurance, but I know South Carolina, I used to take South Carolina claims and then knew about the policies and stuff out there. So very cheap to get insurance compared to the Northeast, but they're starting to have some car taxes now. The way they set it up, they're getting some extra revenue, but people are coming from Connecticut and Massachusetts, and where they're just paying exorbitant amount of taxes out here. Rightfully so. We got, the schools are good out here. The public schools are pretty great. I think mass teachers make the most in the country as far as their average salary for public schools, which is a good thing. But that's why people stay up here. You raise your kids up here and then you move down south to retire. Anyway, let's get Leia on the phone. Let's see. We're going to.
Marcus?
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on?
You are live on the post-show concert stream. And,
awesome. Hey, everybody. What's up, Joshua?
Yeah, your husband's on. We were talking about the west coast of Florida and Madison Square Garden, Fish. And
awesome.
What did you think about the show tonight? Walk us through what you experienced.
So nice, tiny little venue, nice, tiny little pit. It was really just nice and mellow. It was very brisk and chilly. I didn't just look up the temperature, but it was very windy and brisk. And then it was, I love it. I love that amphitheater. I think it was a really great vibe. They had some people that were actually working for Live Nation doing some volunteer work for raising money for their kids. So these were like bartenders. They were serving shots and drinks, and I have a video I haven't posted yet, but they were just very wanting everyone to have a really great time. It was just a really nice, mellow vibe. You know, we did get some of the, I guess we could say, the cruise control set list. But we got our Little Red Bird encore, which was really exciting. That's a real personal song for me. And getting up real close to the band is always so much fun. And we had a really great crowd. It was just nice. It's such a nice, mellow venue. I have so much to post. I literally recorded like the whole show this time. We were just in that, some shows I want to stand and watch. And because some of the songs were, we weren't getting shotgun or anything like that, it was a fun time to really record some of the, nuances of Timmy and had some really great solos. And I love the amphitheater there. I love the air there. So you guys are talking about, arenas versus the amphitheaters. And I love being outside. So it was just awesome. I mean, it's comparing, there was a guy next to me who lives in Santa Fe, who actually also just celebrated the 50th birthday, like 11 days before mine. He was like one of our pit partners. And he was also at the Gorge, and, just talking about the expectations for a venue like Isleta, and thinking the vibe wasn't going to be all that. And it really, it was awesome. I mean, you don't get that same like crazy pulse that you get at these other venues. Albuquerque, New Mexico is big skies and just really mellow Pueblo people, and locals are just everywhere. It's just such a mellower scene. And I love that about it here. And I've never been in the pit here. We've been to shows there and have gotten really, really close. Joshua will say, we were like fifth row. But I've never been in such a small, I don't know if that was the smallest pit I've ever been in. But it was a really relaxed atmosphere. It was just awesome. And it was brisk and chilly. So unlike all the other shows that were sweltering, Tampa, all the Florida shows, this was like freezing sweaters, tights. I had my big old boots on. So that added a whole other, like, just refreshing element. I love the Albuquerque air. And, I only have posted that one so far, but got so many great shots and great video. And I even got a point from Tim and a thumbs up, which was really cool. I was like, because I had reached out to him earlier. So I was guessing he was telling me that he'd gotten my message. So I was pretty psyched about that. And I got a awesome 30-year anniversary blankie, opted over the poster. I saw this and I was like, I think I'd rather have the nice warm blanket here instead of the piece of thick, lovely poster paper. And it was sort of, not to say that they go by faster and faster, but like all of a sudden the night was over. But it was just so, always, no matter what, it's always amazing.
That's awesome. And what did you think about the what you are right before the set closed out?
Oh yeah. I mean, oh man. Of course we got the What You Are, we got Squirm, Little Red Bird. But yeah, I got to record that. I have a lot of great footage that I'm really excited about for the feed, and can't wait to share some stuff with you, just even thoughts of like getting stuff on YouTube, especially when you get a whole song. So yeah, it was it's always just so dreamy after a show. You know, after Deer Creek, it was all like pumped up, and now it was just so, it was a lovely, perfect show. Joshua had suggested we hang out towards backstage and meet the band, and I didn't get that text till I was checking into the hotel, and I was like, darn, you know, we probably could have there, but we were just so chilly. We were kind of like, where's the car, you know? And it's such a different scene out here in New Mexico, you know, just definitely a different crowd. It is not at all like that stampede leaving Deer Creek. It's just all very, again, just mellow and, you know, smiling the whole time. Just had a big like smile the whole time. Everybody's just, Dave came out in his big jacket, and, you know, it was chilly, and, but we all stayed warm, dancing and singing, and it was amazing, Marcus. You were all there in spirit as usual. And definitely then started the whole thing up with about Mohegan Sun, and then even MSG, you know, our neighbor in the pit was saying how, you know, really wanting to go to MSG, really hoping to connect with tickets. He didn't have tickets yet. And I was telling him how our good friend, Angela Abend, who she had gotten tickets through our warehouse. We had been talking about going to that show, and I was kind of like debating, and like the pulse of New York, and especially compared to a venue like in Albuquerque, it's just such a different, it's like a whole different experience going to some of these like bigger, wilder, long line venues. Like doors opened at 6, no line. They just had like the first line, and then they had the second line for tickets. And it was like, it just went in, and it just kept moving, and, you know, no opener. So they came on at about 7:40 maybe. And, it was just amazing. That's so great. Awesome. Just don't ever want it to end. That's the only thing that's like, you know, after the show, you're like, oh man, I could have like hung out for 3 more hours.
Yep, it's that feeling. Yeah, when once it's over, you're like, oh, that's it.
It just ends. Yeah, I was like, man, I want it to be another night 2. You know. Yeah.
There's no Natasha Bedingfield. The rest is still unwritten. It's over. You don't get it. Yeah, it's a midweek one-off show. So, let's see. So, yeah, we talked about the show, and then I do have up here Angela Abend's Twitter page, and she has a awesome cause that I know I saw some likes and comments from
the Limkind Foundation. We love Limkind, and shout out to Limkind. We all know that they make custom prosthetic limbs for kids in need all over the world. And Angela is a now retired, fabulous retired 5th grade gifted education teacher in New York City. And she's a real driving force behind Limkind. And she's amazing. That would be my biggest shout out, is to our girl Angela tonight. What's up, Mama? And yeah, we you know, she's is she in that photo? I can't quite see it, but
we have. I went down to some of their goals, but let's see. Oh no, she's not in this one. This is the GoFundMe here, where they're raising money, and they're still raising money. You can still donate. They did pass a $10,551 goal, but at the same time, there's a couple of bullet points is what they want to do. Just open up a pediatric prosthetic center in approximately 3 years on the South Shore area of Long Island, where no parent would have to pay for their child's prosthesis and physical therapy care. And then the second goal is to open and support the international prosthetic clinics to provide prosthetic care for children in need. The third goal, support Camp No Limits, a camp for amputee children here in the United States. Then the goal number 4, provide community outreach programs to educate the community about children with limb loss, both domestically and internationally. And I love that idea as somebody who has volunteered and done different missions abroad in Guatemala and South Africa, and then also done things. I do things in my community every weekend to help those in need. I did some food drives, and not really me. It's not really, it's the people who set this up and started this. I'm just showing up and doing one little thing. But I think I like that it's important when you have a goal that helps people here that need it, and then you also look around the world. It's awesome to have that dual focus
Exactly.
with this program to look at, because there are issues here right in the neighborhood next door, the block next door. There's so many needs, but they're also you're across the world. There's various issues. So I think that's a dope thing that the focus has those two.
That is
two
huge.
in one.
I'm glad you brought that up, Marcus. I really believe in that. Your local and your world and your global. Really emphasize that oneness with the community, but also internationally. I love that. I love LimCon. I love their philosophy, and they're a big. You've probably heard about our casino table game and app Spectra that's about to be released in 6 weeks. The apps is going to be launched, and I have a big. My focus, my kind of mission for it is to create that philanthropy focus. LimKind is our number one philanthropy. And I love, and I've always, in fact, modeled a bit of our philanthropic mission around that exact premise of that local community-oriented support, as well as that global support, like LimKind is such a great model for. And in the Santa Fe community, we have, I had just been to my 25th anniversary belly dance studio, Pomegranate Studios. And that was just such a huge, my son Jude is calling me right now. That was just such a huge emphasis on the community support and really being there for our youth, and how our youth really need us. And Pomegranate has what's called a SEED program, self-esteem, education, and empowerment through dance. And they're really about uplifting the youth and that community focus. So being in Santa Fe and being at this show on Saturday reminded me once again of that huge community impact, going there, seeing friends I hadn't seen in 10 years that just happened to be in town for this event. And just that real, 3 speeches, about the importance of our youth and being there for our community locally. And just, again, reminding me of, because I don't really feel that quite as much in Florida as I do in Santa Fe. It's a huge community oriented small city, I guess we could say, capital. And they're really doing great things to outreach to the community and really be there. And that's one of the things I love about my dance studio. And I also want to give a shout out to our Pomegranate Studios, and congratulations for 25 years. I mean, over the years, I've only had, I don't know how many, but over and over Business of the Year. Pomegranate Studios, we do so much for the community. We perform at all the assisted livings and in the entire city. And that's, a good 30 performances over Christmas. So, there's a lot happening for community in South and in the Southwest and in Santa Fe. And that was a really wonderful thing to come back to after 10 years. It's been to see and feel that, especially with all that's been happening, and it's being a very conservative town, a lot of, mask wearing and people, still, it's really great to see people getting out and really emphasizing, kind of getting that motor running again around, community outreach and the importance of that. So Limkind, I'm just so like, they give me chills, they bring tears to my eyes for what they're doing, as is, our local community dance studio, and what we hope that we can achieve with our new game that we're launching. So a lot of really awesome projects taking off, and being out here, seeing these guys play in Albuquerque, and it's such a just chillaxed venue and a nice crowd. It was really, and the staff was really warm and lovely. I just love the people out here. It's just a really warm, friendly. I'd love to see you come out here, Marcus. Have you been here?
I have not. I have on the bucket list I was just talking to a friend yesterday who went to school in Flagstaff. And one of the things that's on the bucket list is to do the drive from Phoenix.
Well, please, when you do,
Flagstaff.
You must come through. Go the drive from Albuquerque to Santa Fe. It's 1 hour. It is a gorgeous, expansive, otherworldly drive. If you come into Santa Fe, which is like a world of its own, where Native American meets historic Spanish. We drove out to Chimayo, the Rancho de Chimayo, the Santuario de Chimayo. It's like this really old church. People do this walk, this like pilgrimage on Easter from Santa Fe to Nambe to the Santuario in Chimayo. And it is such a place like you've never seen there. They have these guys in this little compound where the Santuario is, which is this really old church, like crazy old, that you're not even allowed to take photographs of. But if you check it out, Santuario de Chimayo, they have like this healing dirt in there. I mean, it's like really folkloric. And then across the street, they have these guys selling all these different chili powders, because the chili pepper is huge in New Mexico, and the green chili, and it's chili season, and the hot air balloon fiestas just ended yesterday. But, these guys sell the chili powders. They've got like the red, they've got the green, they call it the Mambo 1 and the Mambo 2 with like you can't even imagine how life-changing these chili powders are. And I've been having them for 10 years or so. In fact, we have to start distributing it, because everyone has to taste the incredible smokiness of these chili powders. And it's just a great condiment to like sprinkle on everything savory and sweet. They sell big bags of them. So I got to go drive out there with my girlfriend and Jude and stock up on my, pounds of chili powder. So I'm going to have to, I know I'll be sending all of you for the holidays.
Gotcha. And last question, were there any Tesla trucks stopping on 40 to come to the show tonight en route to Texas?
Whoa, I don't know. Jude would be flipping out to hear this question, though. What? We saw a Tesla dealership, though, in Powake, which was shocking on the drive to Chimayo. So what's up with the Teslas?
Yeah, they're the headquarters. It's for tax purposes, but Tesla is moving their headquarters to, I believe it's Austin, Texas area, which is.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I made the joke, although they would probably take I-10.
Not that
anyway.
I noticed, but we have been seeing a lot of Teslas, but not the, what are they called again? What did you just say? The pickup, did you call it a pickup?
No.
The Tesla, what did you say?
I was saying for tax purposes, the headquarters are moving to San Antonio. Or Austin. No, I think it's Austin.
And you were asking if I saw like the
trucks. It was just a joke. It was just if you saw the trucks, because they're moving.
Well, it's been a huge conversation piece, and all Jude talks about are Teslas. So
right, I know.
Tesla, I'm like, what, Tesla?
Yeah, I know he's huge into them. Yeah, they're moving. Yeah, it's that most of their staff will stay in California, but for the tax purposes, their headquarters, they're building. They have a new building, and they have one that's already almost done, but they're building out there. So
I've heard bits and pieces, so that makes sense now about seeing what we just saw the day before yesterday.
They're trying to expand.
It looked like a factory plant or something, but maybe it was just. It didn't. It looked like more than a dealership. I don't know. I have to go check it out. We have to do some more exploring while we're here.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things where certain states, like in order to sell them, they have to make these facilities, and dealerships are kind of upset that they're not selling them through dealerships. They're not franchising dealers. It's a whole, and the whole power grid thing. It's another conversation for another day, but to get the power grid going so that you can actually drive across the country. And that's the problem is you have to find these plugins, and then are they really environment? Anyway, it's a whole thing, but just a joke. Just a joke. I'm sure they don't have actual trucks taking all the stuff over, because it's going to be a couple years before that headquarters is done. And all I was picturing
some sort of like one of their cyber. That's what it was, cyber truck.
Oh yeah, the cyber truck that can tow. They can actually like tow better. There's actually better torque with electric vehicles anyway. But not to get too technical.
We have to have a long conversation about this in another show, because if I start talking about it now, you won't be able to stop me.
Yeah, but all right. And then actually, your husband says a lot of marathon runners train in Santa Fe. It's funny. My friend is doing an ultra marathon in Moab, Utah, and just northwest of where Albuquerque is. So he's in Moab. It's a 240-mile ultra marathon.
Oh man. Oh my goodness.
And the same friend, I think you saw the post I posted a couple weeks ago. He does a road race for his father. His father was a East Hartford police officer, had depression, had some things, and took his life. And in his suicide note said, hey, son, his wife, his two sons. He said, hey, get police officers and first responders to help. I was too afraid to get. So he's running in memory of his father, and he's been inspired. It's been 7 years of just things him and his mother have done. Anyway, it's a whole cool thing. But he's in Moab running. Wow. And he trains a lot out in Utah, and I'm sure Albuquerque and like some of the deserts. They have a lot of the deserts in that part of the country. There's always these ultra marathons there. So it's just, he's out there. I think he's probably just finishing up, or probably finished this last day, the 240.
So how long does that take?
For him, it's taken him I think it's 3 or 4 days. Some people can do it in a day or two, I think. It just depends.
Stop? I mean, what's the deal?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's every 4 to 7 miles. There is, and I can pull that up here, the Moab 240. Every 4 to 7 miles, they have rest points. And he usually has somebody with him driving a van, driving a bike. And so that way, if he needs support, someone is there.
Wow.
So this is the Moab incredible. 240. I'm pulling it up right now and race to tell.
So are you going to be doing one of these?
Oh, no. I just did a half marathon, and I've done 2 full marathons, but I did a half marathon and I was exhausted. I'm trying to build back up to get back in shape post pandemic, but
what's the half then? What's the half marathon? How long?
13.1 miles.
Well, that's a lot. So then it was 20. How much is the
26.2 is the
is it just twice that?
Yeah, 26? Twice that.
27.
26.2. Yeah, it's because it's all metric. The metric doesn't line up perfectly.
So did you find that the half was harder than the full?
Well, no, it's just that the full is harder, but I haven't been running as much distance over the last year. With the pandemic, there was no motivation to train. I actually got stronger. I was doing more weightlifting. I was doing more, I was playing some roller hockey. So my hands were moving. And so long story short, I was not in shape for the half. It took me 2 hours and 19 minutes. Most half marathons take an hour and 50 for me, an hour and 50. So I was an extra 30, 45 minutes to finish, but I took my time. I did finish.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Just to finish it, it's especially post all of this, to get out there and still complete it. That's awesome, Marcus.
Yeah. So my friend is at mile 219 miles of the 240, 58 miles per day.
Wow.
He's also a Marine, so he can stay out in the wilderness. And I was talking to another Marine the other day, and they know how to just stay out in the wilderness and be disciplined and mentally survive. He goes out to the mountains of Montana, and like I said, some of the deserts. Anyway,
yeah, you gotta get out here and check it out. You gotta come check out some of the wilderness out here. The hiking is epic. We've been hiking every day since we've gotten here, and Jude is completely hooked on hiking now. It's crazy.
That's awesome. It's a great pastime, and it's walking and hiking are awesome, especially hiking. I know we've talked about that offline about some of your challenging hikes and how much they've built up these great experiences for you. But thank you so much. We're gonna end this. I need to get back to sleep.
Thank you so much,
you
Marcus.
Enjoy the
Thank
rest of your
for
night.
Having me.
Yep. It looks like Joshua was saying Jude's doing great.
Awesome. Yeah, he tried calling me while we were talking, and I had to disconnect for the moment.
Yeah. But we'll talk to you later. Take care.
You as well, Marcus. We'll be in touch soon.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. And Joshua, it's 240 miles. So the Moab 240 is 240 miles. And I see, you say Texas Power Grid. Yeah, Texas Power Grid is it's not good. But some of that too is they didn't winterize everything. There's good and bad about Texas. It's cheaper to live, but as they saw, the power grid was just because of the lack of regulation, it was not winterized for frost. I know it's rare, but now, I mean, North Texas does freeze over every now and then. So all right, 53 miles. Yeah, he has 53 miles to go, I think. I think that's what it is. So 24, 219. Yeah. Oh, no, a little less than that. Oh, K Drew Basement. Oh, Tony C. I checked out your page, man. Pretty cool. Next show I'm attending, Mohegan Sun. So the Mohegan Sun shows an MSG night too. Those will be the next shows that I'm attending personally. If anyone is going to Rogers, Arkansas on Wednesday, I'm planning to be on for that. Definitely a little earlier than this. Stay tuned to my Twitter page. I'll tell you when I project to come on. There's Central Time Zone out there in Arkansas. So, it's going to be, this is their mountain time in New Mexico. So it'll be a little bit easier. Yeah. And Joshua Green, 240 miles. Yeah. So that's more mile, not kilometers. Kilometers, obviously, as you probably know, would be shorter. So 240 miles. He's at mile 219.2. The last time he was scanned in was at mile 219. If you notice, just to show you this really quick, that's the flag is the finish line, and these are checkpoints. So Porcupine Rim is a checkpoint. There's other checkpoints here that aren't showing because he's already passed. Oh, so like right here, there's a checkpoint. So every 4 to 7 miles, there's a checkpoint. So they have water. Every like 10 or 15 miles, there's like a first aid stand. So some of them just have water and they just checking on people, and other people, other stops have different things. I think you can see. Yeah. So mile 220. The next distance, the next 19.2 miles. So this is actually one of the longest stretches where there's no stop point. And then the map, just to show you guys. And this is, they have these up. There's a lot of them in the desert, and other parts in the mountains. But yeah, this is the trek that he's done. So he's on day 3 days. But it was 3 days ago that he did that. So, and not everyone finishes. Sometimes they do get injured when you're running this many miles. It's really like the Tour de France. It's like a nonstop Tour de France. Joshua Green says, "No, thank you, Texas." I agree. I like visiting Texas, Houston. I want to get to Dallas, but Houston has some of the best food in the world. But yeah, to live there. The problem with Texas is the infrastructure is spotty, so you get what you pay for. Because there's too much regulation can be bad, right? I live in Connecticut, so I know the everything's crazy. but not enough regulation on the infrastructure is not good either. And that's really what Texas has, is that. And then some of the building codes, right? Engineers, that's the thing, is you got to listen to these engineers. Engineers told people in Houston, hey, stop building houses and stop expanding Houston, because the prairie grass in Houston sucks up the Texas. You hear Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas flood. The prairie grass in Texas absorbs the water to make the floods less intense. But because there's all this, because they keep building Houston out, right, for miles and miles, just to let's go to Houston. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up this. But just to kind of show you guys what I mean, fun random. I love just random things like this, geography and topography. If we go to Houston, like if you look at all of these beltways around Houston, like Houston started out. So the story of, if you guys don't, you guys may know this, right? Galveston, Texas was Houston before Houston was Houston. Tons of people lived here. You had the breeze and the water. There was the beach, and then there was a very bad hurricane. Galveston hurricane. I think it was 1900. Let's see, 1906. So the 1900 Galveston hurricane was the deadliest natural disaster in United States history, 5th deadliest Atlantic hurricane overall, between 6,000 and 12,000 fatalities. Why do I say that? Because Galveston, right here, people were all living out here because it was, just like Florida. Oh, nice, beautiful weather. And then because this thing killed so many people, they're like, hey, let's move everything inland. And Houston started, and they started building. And even in the 70s, Houston wasn't as big as it is now. And if you look at all these outer rings and outer rings and outer rings, they kept building in this prairie land. And what's happening is, because they're building so much more, there's actually a man-made canal that cuts through Houston, and that brings the water down to the coast. But because they're building so much in this prairie grass, the prairie grass is now concrete, and it's not soaking up the water. And now the floods, even without hurricanes, it floods. Have a good night, Joshua. Thank you. And best of luck. I know you and Leia have the table game there that involves music and involves causes, raising money for a casino game for a good cause. So we wish you the best of luck there. But yeah, just to go back to this Houston thing real quick. So yeah, they keep building Houston out. So you have the Sam Houston Tollway right there. That's Route 8. But once they built that, they kept expanding this. It used to just be 610, right? 610 was all right, this is the city limits. Then they built 8. And then they have some of this stuff. You have 99 that comes around. So the more they build out here, the worse everything gets, because the flooding doesn't just affect the areas where they used to have prairie. It all goes into Houston itself. And the whole city is very flood prone, and tropical storms can mess up. And the Woodlands, just to give you an idea, if you're going to DMB, Houston is right here. Houston's a huge city. Everything is bigger in Texas. The Woodlands is where the venue is, the Cynthia Woods Pavilion. That's where DMB plays when they go to Houston. So they're 45 minutes, an hour outside of Texas. So if you go to Dead Center, that's 30 minutes, but with traffic, it's like 40, depending on the day. But it's 30 miles away. Like that's how big Houston. That's only the first part of Houston. It's 30 miles here to there. And that's a suburb. And then you go the other way down, and there's a lot of stuff there. The band played Sugarland, Dave and Tim right here. So if we do, so these venues are spread out. This was a smaller theater. I think it's a pretty new theater too. So Sugarland is where Dave and Tim play. So see, that's 49 minutes. You take the Sam Houston Tollway, 69 past Missouri City. just to give you an idea, those are the two venues, Dave and Tim, Sugarland, DMB full band. Typically, they would play the Woodlands. This year, they didn't. Didn't do Dallas either. But everything is bigger in Texas. And Josh, yeah, you're right. Houston's going to be in 50 years with all the rising waters. We don't know what's going to happen. And there's a lot of people that live out there. Dallas, Fort Worth is to the north, North Texas, Oklahoma City. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to me get sidetracked. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. I will be back on Wednesday. We'll talk Rogers, Arkansas. If you are going to the show, comment below in this comment. In the comments, and we want to try to get you on if you're interested in calling in from Rogers, Arkansas. Thank you guys again for your time, and I hope you guys. And we're gonna actually let's see. In honor of, here's what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna play this in honor of the next tour stop. We're gonna play some Chris Stapleton here. Thank you guys again for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. When you guys do those things, it helps this to get more exposure. But we're gonna end this on Arkansas. But this is all you're gonna hear from me for tonight. It's your boy Conserviz 34. Peace.
To the